You mean to tell me, after you drop the twists of twists and slaughter a possible goated character, you're gonna give me filler? Okay, I'll take it. What's up? Ooh, wow. What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we are to do a... Oh, my neck! Why my neck cracked like that? I don't sleep when I'm resting. So here we are to do... Ow! That actually hurt. A breakdown, so live reaction and review to chapter 58.5 of Kagurabachi, which is known as Genichi Sojo's Bathhouse Quest. The main story is on break this week, apparently. I'm guessing this is because Hokuzono-sensei is going absolutely insane for chapter 59 and didn't want to just drop nothing, which I respect wholeheartedly as a content creator. Like, sometimes when you're trying to put a whole bunch of focus into a main video or a main, like, piece of content, then you want to take some time off, or at least not release nothing. Like, I understand that feeling a whole lot, so I respect Hokuzono-sensei. So let's not waste any more time. Let's actually hop right into it. Editing me. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, interesting. I mean, like, once again, I do respect this just as like an artistic and / or creative point. Like, notably, it is just smart to have stuff like this. I'm not sure if this was like back prepared, if this was included in the previous volume, or if this is like generally full new side content, but still a very neat idea. I'm honestly happy to have anime filler. The only reason I'm kind of iffy on this filler is because Sojo's been dead for like a year. Not a year. Well, no, he's been dead for a minute now. Like, he's been dead for a minute. So ultimately, while it's cool to see a bonus chapter surrounding Sojo, I kind of wish it was on a more like alive character, relevant character, like maybe a Hakuri. Well, then again, we kind of have a lot of Hakuris past in history, so maybe not him. Maybe more, but then again, Kurishiguro is also dead, so maybe not him. Like, maybe this is just the best way to do it. If we had to focus on somebody, Sojo is one of my favorite characters from the Kagurabachi universe so far, so like, I'm definitely taking it. But it is interesting to focus the bonus chapter on him. I'm interested to see how long this is. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into it. Before an important job, I have a crew. Oh yeah, I do remember this. Before an important, and this is actually perfect because I never got to voice Sojo because I didn't start reviewing Kagurabachi on time, which now in retrospect I really wish I did. But let's see. Before an important job, I have a crucial ritual. A nice hot bath. Genichi Sojo's Bathhouse Quest. Bonus chapter, main story is on break. Alright. Once again, he has such a clean design too. The reason I like Sojo's design so much is because it's that perfect balance. And once again, I need to sit down and make a Sojo video. Like, I haven't drawn him yet. In fact, I'm thinking about it. A lot of the manga I cover, I actually haven't drawn too much of their art styles yet, which is interesting, considering I do really like Kagurabachi's art style, and it's actually, I'm saying it as a person who hasn't drawn it yet, so watch me come back to you next time after I've drawn it and be like, this is really, really hard, but it's an art style that isn't necessarily too difficult, and the additional details that go into it help refine it and elaborate on it, but doesn't overcomplicate it to the point of increasing the difficulty, if you know what I'm saying. Like, for example, Kohei Horikoshi. Love the man. His designs aren't overly complex. They aren't the most at base glance. Like, you look at Midoriya's costume. There's some details on it, but it's not insane. Same thing with Uraraka's or Bakugo's or Ida. Though Ida's is kind of chunky and I'm at, or Chodo's. But what makes it difficult to draw is because of how much detail and the level of artistic skill it takes to replicate the detail that Hori puts into stuff. Like, Deku, in concept, is not that hard to draw. But then when you try to take Deku as Hori draws him, then you realize, sweet mother of mercy, Hori, how did you do this weekly for 9 years? Like, there are levels to it. And Hori's at that level. But Hokuzono-sensei is a good balance of fantastic character design. Like, the detail in this is immaculate. And the extra detail is not that hard to imagine me doing. In fact, dare I say, let me challenge myself. Real quick, I'm going to do, like, a super Omega Speedy. I know y'all have been like, really, pencil? Is not the time for this? And no, it isn't. But considering this is a filler chapter, I don't expect it to be too long considering what I saw at the scroll. Let me see if I can just quickly sketch up this image right here. It's going to be slightly difficult because once again, this is going to be my first shot of ever doing the Kagurabachi art style. But I just want to see if I can whip it out real quick. Because I love this art style because it allows so much for branching detail. For example, I already started concept art for next year for all the avatars. Since Kagurabachi is part of the main lineup and there are story beats and details I plan to make videos on, I want to have a proper intro for the manga. So whenever the da-da-da plays at the start of the videos, I have an avatar to actually correspond with it. Right now, I do not. It's why the JDK avatar is basically on all my videos, because I review a whole bunch of series now that I was not reviewing at the start of the year. It definitely did not have avatars prepared for them. By the time I started reviewing them, I wasn't fully confident in taking the time to just sit down and bang out all those headshots, even though I probably could have. And may or may not slightly regret not doing that. But with that being the case now, the Kagurabachi avatar wasn't actually that hard to do. And there were, luckily enough, a bunch of different characters I could draw inspiration of. Naturally, the biggest one I drew inspiration of was Chihiro himself, because, you know, he is our main character. So, thusly, I feel like referencing him a lot within the avatar is just kind of like natural. It's like how all the other avatars have references to like the main villain or the main protagonist of the respective series, but Chihiro himself has such a clean and iconic design that wasn't hard to incorporate him. Hakuri's mask design is really, really unique, so of course I incorporated that as well. I ended up going with a dual-wielding swordsman, even though we haven't necessarily seen that so far. Naturally, the avatar is dual-wielding two of the Mystic Blades. I haven't specifically locked in on which Mystic Blades I'm picking just yet, because they all have their unique designs, but I just know he is a dual-wielder. And even Shinichi Sojo's, his design also ended up playing a really big role, because at the time when I was doing the concept art, he was the most interestingly designed villain I've seen so far. I liked Yura, but basically he just wears a suit. And I don't think my Glorious King... Actually, I think my Glorious King Hirohiko had been introduced yet. I just wasn't sure off the top of the dome piece how to immediately build him into the design, though I may reflect on that and see if I can kind of fit him in there, because, man, I just love my Glorious King Hirohiko. He's looking very, very clean. I can't wait to see him use more of Kumeyuri and see how that goes. Uruha's design actually was another big inspiration for the Avatar's design in particular, which worked shockingly well. Like, especially considering, essentially, you can think of it as Chihiro being the basis of the design, and then every other detail being stacked on top of it. I ended up taking aspects of Flamebone, though very specifically just Flamebone. I couldn't really think of a way to incorporate Fuyuki's outfit or Hiyuki's outfit directly into the overall design. But I was like, I gotta include Flamebone somehow. I gotta include that ability. I kind of just ripped Hakuri's mask off his face and attached it to my own avatar. So I was like, it's pretty easy to do. Might as well go with something like that so I can reference Hakuri as well. It ended up being a back-facing shot, because the one thing I always try to do, I try to make sure the avatars have some sort of uniformity. That's why all the headshots look kind of the same, but the reason I wanted to go extra far this year is I didn't want to just do headshots, because I thought headshots were kind of lazy. And last year, or I guess still this year, because it's still 2024, I didn't want to just sit down and do headshots, so I decided to do a dynamic pose for all of them. And there are definitely a bunch of dynamic poses that I could have pulled from the Hokuzono library. Why did I say library? Library for Kagurabachi, but I just went with like a basic backstanding pose, because I really wanted to show off the back. If you'll notice, all the avatars this year have the theme, or not the theme, but the mark of the Dream Eaters, because this was, and I quote, the year of hopes and dreams, because I was feeling mad corny last year. And considering I feel mad corny every year, I ended up going with the title, or the theme for next year, being the year of hearts. And the one thing I've been struggling with, just as I've drawn avatars, like, man, for some reason, the Dream Eater symbol fit everywhere, and I didn't really have to think too much about it, at least in terms of incorporating it, especially considering a lot of the headshots were uniform. But now that I'm daring, and I mean daring, to try and fit the hearts theme into everything else on top of the references to their natural series, on top of trying to fit it all within a 720 by 1280 image, it surely is a little bit more difficult than I expected. But ultimately, it's been a really fun challenge so far, and I think, ironically enough, the Kagurabachi one has turned out to be one of my favorites, and I haven't even started, like, doing it digitally yet, because obviously, I would love to go back to the old-fashioned paper intros, but those I really, really love to record, and those have to all be done in one setting, and ultimately, I just kind of don't like how the quality comes out on them. I may go back to doing some, like, traditional paper drawings for, like, videos and stuff like that, but overall, I think the more important task for me would, or not the more important task, the better looking task quality-wise would be to do it digitally, and of course, digitally gives me a larger range of colors that I can work with, and I don't have to worry about, like, burning through my very limited supply of, like, colored pencils or markers and stuff like that, or if Inktober was any indication, if you saw that on my other account, you can literally see me struggling as I slaughtered multiple markers trying to do Inktober, because I have a bunch of Sharpie markers, but not all of them were consistently able to make it through the month, and thusly I would sometimes use one until it was burnt out dry, and I felt bad for it towards the end, because, you know, I just kept slaughtering marker after marker after marker. And considering I'm already 10 minutes deep, let's see, I'm kind of gotten most of the general face structure down, but you can tell, I mean, obviously I still need to do the hair, and I need to do the extra details, but note how it looked. That's the base face, the mouth, the eyes, all that. The extra details are missing in like the dots and the individual stringy hair that represents Sojo's messy nature and stuff like that. That stuff all could be done, but once again, I do want to actually get into the rest of the review. But yeah, the Kagurabachi art style was not necessarily too difficult for me to pick up as a basis. I'll probably finish this drawing, and then for the next review, I'll show off the full complete drawing. But there we go. Genichi Sojo so far. Let's actually hop into the chapter itself. His bathhouse quest. Today, I'm going here. Kurushio Bathhouse, a 5-minute walk from the Kurushio Station on the Soya Line in Tokyo. It's an old bathhouse nestled discreetly in the residential area. It's small, but it has a sauna. Ooh, that's actually clean. Let's see. This old lady works the reception desk. Okay, 78. She looks good for 78. Let's see. 1 towel set. Oh, sure. Recently, a new facility opened nearby with a big sauna and soaking pools. It took most of the clientele. Oh, that's the thing that always sucks. I mean, and I get it, right? That's just kind of like the nature of things. Ultimately, it's economies of scale for all my finance people out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But economies of scale is like a big thing where ultimately, if you have more money and the ability to produce more, you're typically always going to overwhelm less. It's why whenever like a major chain, whether it be fast food or even like a convenience store chain appears in an area, any local mom and pop shop, like, I'm not gonna say dies immediately, but like, unless it has a real strong and loyal customer base, or is somehow able to sell much cheaper than the large scale convenience store, ultimately they're gonna end up dying out just because of the nature of stuff like that. Though I have seen the opposite. I've seen the cases where big business has come to an area and then ultimately immediately failed just because people were already that loyal to what was already there and just didn't like big business in that town. So it is a vice versa thing, but I understand what Genichi went through here, where his spot ultimately lost clientele. I'd love to check it out, but they don't allow tattoos. Interesting that this older traditional one does, though. Let's see. But then again, I do know that is like a thing in Japan, which is why I don't have tattoos. I say that as if I'm going to Japan anytime soon. That ticket is like $3,000 year round. No, at least not anytime soon. But interesting. He looks so clean, bro. I love Genichi. I really wish that this man got to live longer. No, he was sacrificed too soon. My glories. I don't want to call him my glorious kingdom because that man was a beast. A monster, a creature, an animal, if you will. Let's see. Sky. I'll leave when it gets dark. Oh, interesting. My job today is to... we getting lore. I don't think I actually did ever hear this. My job today is to retrieve a certain item. The Enchanted Blade, Cloud Gouger. The Enchanted Blade, Cloud Gouger. Forged by Kunishige Rokuhira. It's one of Kunishige Rokuhira's swords. It's a dream come true. But I have a job to do. I can't go getting all worked up. I have to relax the mind and body and be in peak condition. That's why the bath is crucial. I understand that. Sauna under repair? No, the sauna. Though admittedly, I already sweat easily. I'm a big fella. So I've never been able to do the sauna. It's just not a thing for me personally, because I may pass out of dehydration like 5 minutes in. Let's see. But he didn't tweak out and freak out. He's still looking normal. What? Cool shampoo, refreshing. Was it gonna wash out his hair dye or something? What's the problem? It's mentholated. It's mentholated. Oh, hey, sorry to intrude while you're relaxing, Sojo. It's about the weapon we bought from you the other day. Oh, he's gonna slaughter these two, isn't he? Honestly, we're disappointed. The boss wants 40% back. You just don't know how to wield it. I gave a demonstration. Both sides agreed to the contract. The boss is mad. That's not gonna cut it. Too bad. Is he gonna slaughter these two? Yeah. You know, like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, do they? Like, I always wonder in moments like that where people will go for a character like Sojo, like, especially as like, I get it. You're kind of in a lose-lose scenario regardless. If your boss is someone who's dealing with a character like Sojo, you're gonna perish if you go back to him empty-handed and or leave. But like, why would you anger someone like him, where you know he's also volatile and will give you vicious backshots that you will remember for the rest of your day? Why would you do that? Let's see. Hey, Granny, there's no fruit-flavored milk? Interesting. Fruit-flavored milk? Strawberry milk. I never thought about it that way. I guess strawberry milk is fruit-flavored milk. I never heard of like other flavors of that. I know like chocolate milk, but chocolate isn't fruit. Is it? What's the cocoa plant? Cocoa isn't a fruit, is it? But I wouldn't say cocoa's a... Hold on a second. Now I'm a little bit concerned. Is cocoa or cacao a fruit or a vegetable? Cacao is a fruit. Because I believe cacao is what makes cocoa. Wait. What fruit is chocolate made from? Yeah, it's cacao. So technically, chocolate milk is a fruit-flavored drink. Or chocolate milk is fruit-flavored milk. You learn something every day. For some reason, that bothers me. I never pictured that. Oh, wow. That blows my mind. Oh, dear. Is it all sold out? Sold out by who bought it? Rats. Oh, but see, but honestly, it's why I like Sojo so much. He's a really relatively chill dude as long as you do not directly anger him. Which is bad. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. But still. The shampoo was methylated. What does that even mean? Mentholated? Oh, you didn't like it? I do, but in the summer. Oh, interesting. It's October already. You should put that stuff away. Oh, see, he's giving tips and all that. And if the summer's unavailable, you should say so. Oh, whoops, slipped my mind. Sorry about that. You don't get your act together, that big bathhouse is gonna put you out of business. Wait, come back, Sojo. I'm gonna finish drawing you this video. You've entertained me enough, Sojo. You've met the criteria and the conditions. And in fact, since this is a shorter chapter, it looks like I'm near the end anyway. It doesn't seem like we're gonna fit in the actual mission of him going to a street cloud gouger. I do want to finish this and talk about Sojo and why I do like him so much, just innately as a character. So let me go back to this. So my little roughy. Let me see if I can quickly back up my game a little bit when I say the Kagurabachi art style isn't actually too difficult for me to replicate off first try. But Junichi Sojo, he works really, really well as an early antagonist for specifically early Chihiro. Once again, so far, it seems like the theme of the antagonists of the series so far are all characters who challenge some aspect of Chihiro's beliefs, fundamentals, systems, and ideologies. Obviously, with the most recent reveal, Samura is now a Chihiro antagonist who just slaughtered one of the people he looked up to as heroes, and the main thing we're currently tackling with Chihiro right now is not just his own perception of heroes, and or the lack thereof that the Blade Bearers were, considering he already apparently had that arc off screen, but very specifically how he should not just revere them or respect them, or how he should really deal with them. Because Chihiro is a character heavily based in legacy, he's a character heavily based in history, and very specifically being a character driven entirely by revenge, he's one whose whole narrative is kind of based in interpretations of things such as logic and background and history. And of course, considering the nature of the Enchanted Blades, one of the most natural and immediate questions that would come from something with such extreme power is, hey, how would other people who didn't know Kunishige Rokuhira interpret these weapons of mass destruction? How would someone who never knew the man behind the blades or had a context for him view the legacy that he left behind? Not just in Chihiro himself, which obviously Sojo did very, very well, but also simply in the idea of the blades on their own. While Chihiro views them as tools, if not gifts to the world, that helped win a very specific and important war, and also were essentially the end or the legacy that his father left behind in a positive sense, as ultimately he once viewed them as heroes, or viewed the wielders of the blades as heroes, and then by proxy viewed his father as a man who helped or guided heroes. It's the whole reason why the younger Chihiro did desire to not necessarily become a sword wielder himself, but rather a blacksmith in honor of his father. Shinichi sees the weapons of mass destruction for what they are, weapons of mass destruction, and thusly cannot fathom how Chihiro could not see what he sees in the Enchanted Blades. And ultimately, what their battle came down to was not so much a battle of right and wrong, as Chihiro has already admitted. His version of right and wrong, or his perception, is a lot different than what the traditional world would definitely define as right and or wrong, as he is a mass slaughterer, as he slaughtered who knows how many people in just the first chapter, not to talk about the entire run of the manga, definitely including fights or instances that took place off screen, or his initial battles that took place before the series even started in the battle for the mystic blades, or at least information for them. But also, very specifically, he never necessarily had to tackle what the mystic blades meant, or the enchanted blades meant, simply because no one had kind of been there to do that for him, because he was not even able to encounter them. Ultimately, outside of N10, Chihiro in the early series had very little exposure to the enchanted blades. And naturally, it makes sense. You know, you got to start the story somewhere. And if he had had exposure to the enchanted blades, that already cuts down the MacGuffin hunt quest down from 6 to 1, or depending on how many blades you would have knowledge of, or other whereabouts and locations of, it will cut it down a whole lot more, and thusly it makes sense why Chihiro didn't have that exposure. But Junichi being his first antagonist, introducing Chihiro to, ironically enough, a heavily linked to him, but yet simultaneously not heavily linked to him, thanks to, you know, his father already being gone, and like the war already being over. The purview of weapons of mass destruction and what that means, and their origin, what it says about their creator, and what the legacy is left behind by those of the creator, and how people interpret that, and how that matters versus how it doesn't matter, and how Chihiro ultimately will have to fight not just for the blades themselves, but the ideas that they represent and the ideas that his father left behind to him. That's all really, really good, and Junichi covers that beautifully. And honestly, so far, once again, until we get a little bit more of Hakari, and until I do a proper reread of the Sazanami Clan arc with, his name wasn't Tenri, was it? His name wasn't Tenri. Hakari's our character. Tenri, I forget the name of the father, but there you go. That's the thing. I forget the name of the father. And he does also tackle an interesting part of legacy in terms of like, what does it mean to follow the legacy of one's own father? What is it? And he deals a lot with fatherhood directly, being a father himself to Hakari. And thusly that leads to an interesting conflict for Chihiro. But so far, until my glorious King Hakari gets a bit more time on the screen, a bit more time in the light, I'm going to say that Junichi has worked best. He has been the one to most directly challenge Chihiro in a way that has clearly affected Chihiro deeply, and he's a character who I kind of wish had stuck around more, considering he had so much potential to be a longer-term antagonist. Whether it be in being one who ended up working with Chihiro reluctantly, over finally understanding the nature of the enchanted blades as Chihiro sees them, or whether it be as just an antagonist who kept getting stronger. Honestly, I think Cloud Gouger was really, really cool, really, really neat, and I kind of wish it got to stick around more, but ultimately it couldn't via the nature of the narrative and the breaking of the blades, and considering what the series seems to be building to, which is the idea that the enchanted blades themselves are sort of like siren songs that are extremely powerful, extremely dangerous, and need to be destroyed no matter what good they could do, as they are simply too powerful to exist, and as long as they continue existing, there are going to be people who will seek them. And it's Chihiro's job to claim them all and or destroy them all. It really all depends on how Samura's fight especially ends up affecting Chihiro. But still, it's a really interesting spot. And once again, especially with the ramifications that he's had on the series, I'd say so far, outside of the Hishaku themselves, naturally, such as Yura and all the other sorcerers, he's kind of been the most impactful villain. He gave birth to the Chihiro we know as the protagonist. He gave birth to the scenarios now. The whole Datenseki were essentially solely his experimentation, and he has left a legacy that kind of won't be forgotten, which is why I'm actually happy that he does get this little side chapter all to himself, because, you know, he's earned it. For a guy who wasn't around for too long, what, he existed for like 20-ish, 26-ish chapters? He did a lot. Had a lot of impact, and is a fan favorite. Like, notably, I think Broken Ronin made a video on Sojo calling him like a perfect antagonist or something. I do want to do a live reaction and breakdown to that as well, just because, you know, Broken Ronin always cooks, and for some reason, I still am not sure if I've ever done a live reaction to him, which is crazy because I've been subscribed to that man since like time immemorial. But for all intents and purposes, my glorious King Junichi Sojo is this, that. He's a glorious king, and I'm happy he got this chapter, and I'm almost done with him. And once again, I warn you, this will not be the most impressive or insane drawing. I am moving at the absolute speed of light just to make sure I get the most general details down. May refine this at a later point. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing a real rough job on this tattoos. I'm like half shading, half sketching out the outlines. Let's see. Then we'll just do this. It's going to be very sloppy, I'm sorry. But yeah, at least on this first test run with, admittedly, in my opinion, one of the more heavily designed characters, I'm gonna make the bold claim that Kagurabachi is an art style that I will adapt to, take methods from, and it will not be as difficult as some of the art styles I've had to adapt to and draw before. Because what? I did this in less than 30 minutes. And that was taking a little break in between. Let me see. Let me just put a little shading in the mouth. There's a little bit of gray there, so I'll do that. And then do a little bit more shading in the mouth. And I think I got the eye details down. I think I got the sweat. Is there anything I'm missing? Kind of like the inverted cheekbone he has going on there, but... And, oh, I'm missing some hair details under there. So let me just do this. And this. Bada bing, bada boom. Let me think. And then let's just do some more extra sloppy hair details. Like that. And I think that's most... Ooh, there's that. Let me just hit that real quick. And the upper lip detail, everything. Yeah, we're gonna go. Oh, let's just raise this a little bit higher. And boom. Nichi Sojo, quickly rendered by your boy. I know it's not an exact replica, but I'll have to like sit down and stare at it longer. And I know I definitely messed up on the hair, but there we go. There's Junichi Shoujo. So far, my favorite antagonist in Kagurabachi, as much as my glorious King Hirohiko is racing to catch up. But with it being the case, let's see the end of this chapter. I know some people who've been on the channel for like a while are like, wow, I'm talking about a blast from the past, but I technically, for that to be fully the case, I would have needed to like flip the camera down and show me drawing. But let's see. Gonna go out of business. Today of all days, my crucial bash time was a disaster. But oddly enough, well, I feel generous today. I'm just gonna get cloudy, Gotcha. I'll let slide this time, because today, my dream is coming true. Aw, that's sweet. And my. Milk jar lids? See, look, he's respectful. Just wait, Cloud Gouger. Oh, yep, okay, so this is technically a prequel to the narrative. Like, kind of, sort of. W chapter. Once again, I love more Sojo. I love seeing more unhinged and balanced Sojo. I greatly appreciate the character, and while I wish she was around more, we aren't going to get much more of her, but bada bing, bada boom. Hope you guys enjoyed the live reaction. Hope you guys enjoyed the little sketch. Let me raise him one more time. I'm a little bit proud of him. Once again, this is my first attempt. In fact, did I miss any details on his... I feel like I missed any detail on his nose. No, I'm not. He doesn't have any dots there. But, and technically, yeah, I definitely messed up on the eyes. The black should be a lot deeper. But still... I think that's not bad for a first shot. I think it's not bad for a first shot. Kind of accurate. But, I'm going to always do the end of this video. Please leave man pencil. Oh, yeah. Instead of pencil man pencil in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notification bells you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also do have a Patreon below or you support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Those perks include the live reactions, so every series I have to review, ad free reviews of all my videos, and become a $20 Patreon or $20 member. You can order whatever video you want. Also do a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below, where you can drop 5 things for a short video, 20 things for a long video, or any beats at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.
I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Zara, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, Redwolf 4765, Astro, Brandon Payne, Glacier XZ, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 members, A+A, Ignil Lind, Kevin Encarnacion, Midnight Lord 21, and Sean. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 members, Fine, Austin Wimberly, Uchiha, and Yuki Ally. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members, AZ Void, J Warrior, and Robbie Uchiha. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our $10 patrons, Overlord Zero, Waki Munoz, and Idem Okami. And I'd like to give a final gracious gargantuan thank you to our $100 That Guy with a Pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.